Boy, oh boy, do I have a special one for you today. What is up, Finn fans? Yes, if you could tell by the title, I'm talking offensive line with one of the greatest Miami Dolphin offensive linemen. Heck, even one of the greatest NFL offensive linemen, Richmond Webb. Brought him back on the channel. Great guy. Gave me the time talking about the offensive line, and he actually gave us a really cool story. So before we jump into that, again, got to shout out my guys at patchvibes.com. Keep telling you guys, got a ton of patches. Got this Merino patch. You got the Shula patch. You got the old school logo on top of this new logo that I popped on here. I know it's crooked, but I got to figure out how to stick it on here. I got a clip here. I'm going to fix it. I promise you. I know some of you guys are like, oh, it drives me nuts. I'm going to fix it. But be sure to go over to patchvibes.com. They also have pins, t-shirts, all that great stuff. Use the promo code DDW. You get yourself 20% off. But yes, before, we're about to jump into our conversation with Richmond Webb, talking offensive line, and we talk about some really cool, really interesting things, and we get a firsthand information from a should-be Hall of Famer. No off season. How does that affect the offensive line? How does the continuity affect the offensive line? A ton of great offensive line conversation with Richmond Webb. So without me rambling anymore, let's jump into the conversation with the great Richmond Webb. You guys could see here, I have the great. I might be talking you up a lot, but the great Richmond Webb. How you doing, bud?
How you doing, sir? I'm doing good. Glad to be on your show again. How's life treating you?
Good. Yeah, you were on a while ago, but you could tell got a new setup, got a ton of more stuff added to the background.
But it looks good. I mean, I don't know. You got the decorator's touch. I mean, you got aqua and green in the background. It looks mighty good, brother.
I appreciate that. Now before we jump into any football talk, me and you were kind of chatting about this before I started recording, but you're down in Texas. You just got hit with a deep freeze. How are you doing with all that?
We're out the freezer now, and we're back out on the patio. But it was, we were fortunate. We lost power for about four hours, but it was some people lost power for several days and didn't have water. Pipes and stuff. It was, and it was bad, but the good thing is over. It's probably about 70 some degrees outside now, so we're back to normal. That Arctic blast passed through, and some people got to fix busted pipes and stuff like that, which some people have more challenges than we did. But for the most part, I'm glad to see it already came and it's still gone. So
yeah, it's
upswing now, so that's a good thing.
It's like day and night down there. It's like one minute, like you're saying, negative degrees, and now it's like beautiful 80 degrees. Go outside, jump in the pool.
That's it. Now you're talking, yeah.
But I brought you on because a big thing that's going on with the Dolphins right now is that offensive line. It kind of struggled last season, and obviously a ton of offensive line work because you, like I said, one of the greats. So first thing I want to ask you, right? Last season is something that really never really happened with COVID. There was no off season. There's no preseason. How much does that affect like the bonding and the working together of an offensive line, working only getting about 2 weeks to get ready for the season? How much does that affect, especially with 3 rookies on there, getting that cohesiveness with your buddies left to right?
And I think you said the main word, rookies and cohesiveness. And it's not like guys had previously played together. And I'll give you another prime example before I just, dig deep into that. But you can look at the Super Bowl, and Kansas City lost their left tackle, and then they moved their right tackle to left. They moved their right guard to right tackle, and then they moved the backup to right guard, which really hadn't had much playing experience. And you can see if you lose a position here or there, the challenges it had. And Tampa Bay's defensive line got after him, and Mahomes didn't have the time, couldn't set his feet in throws. He was under pressure constantly, and that's tough. And so, like you said, normally you have quarterback camps, you got mini camp, you got training camp, which just training camp alone with the preseason games, it's about 6 weeks. So to not have that type of opportunity, and guys not working out together and just dealing with COVID, we never got hit with anything like that. And then you go from one extreme to the other one where it's social distancing, that was tough for people that wasn't even playing football. Me, a lot of time I like to greet, shake hands, give somebody a hug or whatever like that. And now it's like on Tuesday you can do that, but on Wednesday you can't do that anymore. So it was like total shock. But I take my hat off to those guys. I mean, they battled this and that, and at times they didn't play as well, but I'm looking forward to this off season. It gives them an off season, and they made it through the year, but they still went 10-5. But now they got time to really gel, and we might add another guy to that offensive line to solidify things. And I think that'll be great for Tua, and add a couple pieces here and there on offense, and we should really be ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of these rookies, what are your thoughts on these rookies? Because at some point they really got thrown in there. Like Solomon Kinley, he got put at left guard versus the Patriots, and we actually had a better run game with him at left guard versus Eric Flowers. You had Austin Jackson, boom, left tackle day one. Robert Hunt goes to right tackle, and they actually did at some statistic levels better than the vets. What is your thoughts on these big rookies that we got in Hunt, Solomon Kinley, Austin Jackson?
What's impressive to me is, and I give Coach Flores and Chris Greer, the coaching staff, the scouting staff, they went out and got players, and it seemed like the shift has become that we're starting to select the right players, where in the top 2 or 3 rounds, those guys need to come out and produce. And that's what we're seeing now, where before there have been times where we selected guys, and you select a guy high in the first round and he doesn't produce, or he's not a fit for what you're trying to do. That really sets you back, not only this year but the next year, because now you got to readdress a need that you thought you got the right guy, but he's not the right guy. So now you got to try to go back and do it again. But like Jackson, I was impressed. Didn't know a lot about him, but I was watching the draft, and I saw he was out of USC, and he was young, like 20. And to see him, I saw he's very athletic, great feet, this and that. So I said, no, they work with him. He's gonna be a solid guy for years. And started out good, and then I think he had a foot injury, which now you got to shift guys again. But he eventually made it back. But it's just they never had it where it was guys that played together for like 12, 16 weeks, and that's tough when you kind of got to rotate guys in and out. But guys stepped up, and like you said, they moved Kenley to left guard, and I thought him and Jackson, that was a real good fit. So that would be something I look at and say, maybe we need to leave you over here. We got that side. Said let's fix this side over here.
Yeah, and you even talked about that this coming off season, it's like we don't need to add a ton of pieces, but add like 1 or 2 more pieces, especially with Ted Karras becoming a free agent. Are you more in the mindset of bringing in a vet, or do you like some of these rookies coming out? Like which side are you more thinking, or doing both? Do you think bring in some more veteran and then also draft?
I think it can work either way. And on Twitter, and then a lot of people ask me, and the thing that I always say is, hey man, I trust the process. So I got faith that Coach Flores and Coach the GM Chris Greer is going to do their job, and whoever they select, that's who I got my total faith in, because they have done a tremendous job the last 2 years to go from 5 wins to 10 wins. They keep adding the necessary pieces, and that's why I tell people, just be patient and let them do their job and just trust the process, because I think a lot of times you hear so much on ESPN, different analysts, this and that. I love this guy. And you'd be like, not that it's not a great guy, but as a fan, it's hard to kind of separate from that. And that's why I try to tell people, just because I get caught up into it too. I'm like, man, we could really use this guy here. But if you don't draft him, he goes somewhere else. And people, it's like a letdown or whatever. And you just you trust the process. And I'll give you an example. JJ Watt is a free agent, but they showed on the news he was thinking the city of Houston and stuff like that for all done. But when he got drafted here, the fans booed him. because that wasn't a pick that they wanted. And, he ends up being a 3-time defensive player of the year. So I'm like, sometimes as fan, I get it, but let's not be so quick to judge. And even if it's the guy that they select that is not the one that we preferred or thought we should have, sometimes you got to just give them a chance. So that's why I always try to refer back or defer to the organization. And like I say, the way they have been doing the last couple of years, I'm confident that whoever they pick, that's the way we need to go.
Yeah, they've been making the right moves, and even this past draft, there was like what, 6 starters coming out of this draft that helped the team win 10
Yeah,
games.
yeah, yeah.
So
And not just the top guys, but lower guys, Gaskin, just different guys contributing. Preston Wade, he's really like been taken off, but he just got injured. But when you select guys, not only in the upper rounds, but free agents and lower round guys, and they can come in and contribute, that's when your scouting department is doing a hell of a job. And I've been really impressed with them. So that's why I say just trust the process.
yeah, definitely. That I'm a big adamant fan of trust the process. A lot of people want to, a rookie has a bad first year, a rookie doesn't go to people's expectations. They want to move on. Let's get rid of him. And then all of a sudden he does very well on another team. You got to trust the process, see where it goes. But there was one thing I noticed about this offensive line. They struggled against run blocking, but they did pretty well against the pass blocking. Explain to us what the biggest difference is, and why do you think that this offensive line struggled so much against getting the run going, but actually did pretty decent in pass blocking?
Yeah, they did pretty decent. Sometime in the running game, and it's all about gelling and working together. And the thing with me, I was fortunate. Me and Keith Sims came in as rookies, and we had probably the best offensive line coach in the game, which was John Sandusky, rest his soul. But even after minicamp, we was down there like a month, and we would go out on the field and just work with him. And I was a guy that came from Texas A&M. We ran the option, so to go from running the option to blocking for Dan Marino, which we just aired it out. We didn't run the ball a lot, but that's what we was required to do. That was our job, to protect Dan. And so I had to really get used to going from a 2-point stance, because hadn't done a lot of that. And then, but the thing that I think really helped me and Keith is we gelled right away, and we really communicated, and we got to a point that we could almost look at each other and not say anything when we walked to the line, and we kind of knew what each other was thinking. And that way you don't have to say, well, I'm coming to you this time, and worry about a defensive line reading your lips and saying, oh, the ball's going over here, this and that. But just having that off season to work on stuff like that, the combination blocks, working up from maybe a down tackle to the linebacker, or it just depends on how the defensive guys move. Sometimes I may have to come off, and sometimes he may have to come off. But you just get that through repetitions, and they didn't have a lot of that. And I think it's going to be much better this year, to answer your question.
Yeah, definitely. And you bring up that it's the whole, like, again, the off-season continuity, because when I was breaking down film of Tua, I noticed that a lot of what was getting this offensive line confused was the stunts by the defensive line, where the tackle would go to the outside and the end would go to the inside. And like you were saying, there was times where you and your boys would get to the line and you didn't even have to say anything. So you knew if that defensive tackle went to the outside, I got him, you're going to get the D end as he comes. It's just playing together. You just got to play together a little bit more.
That's
And
it.
yeah, it's just, that's just how it works. But before I let you get out of here, do you have any stories? I know, you've been with some of the greats, you had gone against some of the greats. Do you have any like stories that you can share before you get out of here? I know my subscribers would love a story from you.
I'm trying to think. I kind of think about playing against like John Randall and Michael Dean Perry. He was always notorious. And, first times, you're a rookie, this and that. And we would go to the line where they were notorious for reading the media guide. Everything's online now, but back then they had the media guide books or whatever. And they would find out, say if you were married or you had a girlfriend, and they would, just throw stuff at you to try pissed off and this and that, or talk about the school you went to or whatever. And I can remember that because I remember Michael Dean had said something about Tennessee, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "You went to Tennessee?" I said, "No, I went to Texas A&M." And then he jumped on Texas A&M after I tried to correct him. So it was just, it was that thing there that just, they try to get in your head, but after the game, most guys are pretty cool, and they'll come to you and say, "Hey, man, y'all just keep working. Y'all doing pretty good, this and that." And for me and Keith, especially early on in our career, being rookies, and some of the older veterans come up and talk to you and stuff like that. That meant a lot to me. So because you go from playing in college to, these are guys you normally see on TV. So you're like, man, that's really him. And that was something that kind of freaked me out when I think we went through minicamp, and me and Keith Sims was in the huddle with Dan Marino, Mark Duper, Mark Clayton. I was like, man, I used to watch these guys on Monday Night Football, and Duper standing right next to him. And I'm like, you there, but it's kind of like, it's just, you're almost like a fan in a,
Yeah.
you can't let on, because them guys will really ride you. You're like, man, what's wrong with you? Get up, just call this play. You know what I'm saying? But you see guys at that level, and then you see, I just, you got me just rolling here, but
Man, go.
The first time, we would practice 2 minutes in practice, but to go 60, 70 yards in a minute and score, and then just watch the way, sometimes it would be like, Dan would tell Dupe, you do this, Clay, you do this. If he does this, then you do this. And if he does this, I'm gonna throw it this way. And I was like, how can he remember all that? You know what I'm saying? And then it would actually happen. And then he's yelling at us, like, get to the line. I'm like, we just got back here. Now I got to run up here again. And before we get set, he's dropping back again. And next thing you know, touchdown. I'm like, man, we actually did it. In practice, you expect to kind of do it, but it was just like, it was impressive. And it was that professionalism and that work ethic. So I fell into, a great situation with Coach Schuler, very disciplined, very regimented, and it made it easier why we won a lot of games, because we were disciplined. We just didn't do things to beat ourselves, and it was like, either you're gonna get in line or you're gonna get out of here. And you knew that from day one, from Coach Schuler, even from Marino and those guys. We would joke and stuff, but when it was time to work, it was time to work. So those are some of my fondest memories right there.
Now, just real quick to piggyback off that, did Shula trust Marino that much that he was like, I trust you, just if you see something, do it?
Yeah, the thing with Coach Shula, him and Dan at times would get into it, you know what I'm saying? But once it worked, it was like hugs and this. I was like, man, when you first see it, you'd be like, man, are they really mad at each other? But really they're not. It's just, Dan is super competitive, so was Shula, and it was like, at the end of the day, they just wanted to work or this and that, and he didn't so much worry about Dan, but if I messed up or whatever like that, it just seemed like I didn't even have to look at the sideline, but I could see him just, his eyes beaming down on me, and I would go to the sideline, and I would, just like, I can see you, but I'm not looking at you, but I can see you. And I could see him walking down, and I was like, Lord, please don't say nothing. And he'd come out there and chew you out. Then next thing he'd be like, he'd wait a few minutes, like, okay, come on, let's go. Let's get it together. We got to go back out there. So, he knew how to balance it. He was just going to beat you down. That's one thing. That's why I really love Coach Shula. He was great. But yeah, like I said, he was a legend before I got there. So it was just like, yeah, I was just kind of in awe. So I had a great time in Miami, as you can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. And I said this last time, I'm going to say it again. Should be a Hall of Famer. I'm throwing it out there, man. You should be a Hall of Famer. It's bad enough we have Zach Thomas, who consistently has not been getting in, but the fact that you're not in already, man, it's blowing me away, man. You were one of the all-time great left tackles. I'm going to talk you up. I know you're probably like, shut up, but you're the one.
I agree with you. You know, even with Zach, I mean, he got pretty close this last time. I was like, man, let's get him in here. And you know, we got some similar characteristics. He's not gonna be one to like go out and self-promote and say this and that. But when you got guys like yourself and other people, you know, making that creating that voice and making that statement for us, we definitely appreciate it. But like I said, his resume, my resume, it speaks for itself. And I think it's a matter of time. It didn't happen like some people thought it should, but as long as I still got a chance and it happens, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, man, you deserve it. Going against Bruce Smith twice a year. Come on. Like,
Bringing that up, I was doing good. It's Friday now. I'm gonna take me a little something to get me to sleep tonight. See ya.
But Richmond, thank you so much for stopping by. Is there anything you're doing? Anything you'd like to promote?
Only thing I'm promoting is I am on a podcast with Reason and Ball Game, and it's called it's on the Broadway Network. It's inside the NFL, and they do a great job. They really make me look good, like I really know what I'm talking about. So I gotta hype those two guys up. But normally, probably the show will post today. We just did an episode, so Reason he always posted. But other than that, I'm on Twitter, Richmond Webb. And I normally try to, if you follow me, I follow you. I'm not into, you know, trying to have 100,000 followers. I follow 6 people. You know, I like trying to interact with people, and I think people starting to see that. So I'll try to answer your questions. If I don't know, I don't have a problem saying I don't know. But I just love engaging with people, and when people sometimes see you transparent, they can appreciate that. You know, especially from former players and stuff. So I'm a fan just like you guys now, and I want to see the Dolphins win, and we're heading in the right direction. So I'm just as happy as you guys are.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hopefully this whole COVID thing gets under control, and maybe I could see you at a Dolphin give you a big hug with COVID.
I would welcome it, brother, because I didn't get a chance to go to a game last year, and that was tough. But I understood. But I'm hoping that I think this. By this fall, we should have a much better opportunity to possibly participate in the game, because I want to see the stadiums back full and all that. That's an edge for our defense and stuff like that. So
Oh yeah. Especially with us winning, there's going to be even more people in those stands making even more noise.
That's it.
All right, Richmond. Well, thank you again for stopping by. This won't be the last time. You'll be back.
Good. I'm happy to come on. You just let me know, brother. You know how we do it.
Yeah, man. All right. Have a good one.
Hey, you too. Thanks, Doug.
Again, fantastic having Richmond on. Great guy. If you haven't yet, go follow him on Twitter. Be sure to check out his podcast, like he said, with Reason and Ball Game. Some very good friends of mine, cool dudes. Be sure to go check that out. Be sure to comment below. What do you think about what he had to say about the continuity? No off season, no, working together, no training camp. Be sure to comment below, and I'm going to get to one of your guys' comments of the day. And this comes from Twitter, and this one's from Kid in a Hoodie, and he says, I got one. What is the future of Devontae Parker on this team after this year with the weapons we bring in on offense? So it's funny that you asked that, because looking at his contract, right, this is where his dead cap starts to dwindle down. The way the Dolphins gave him his contract extension is 2019 and 2020 were, okay, you're with the team. You're going to be with the team. Dead cap cut of $14 million, dead cap cut of $12 million this past season. Now all of a sudden it starts to dwindle down, whereas his dead cap in 2021 is $8 million, 2022 $5 million, and 2023 $2 million. But his cap hit is $11 million this year. So he's making the most money he did of his full contract this year. This is the year he will make the most money in $11 million. But again, they will save about $2 million, almost $3 million if they did cut him. Are they going to cut him? No. Dolphins are not going to cut Devontae Parker. But the question that is being asked by BR is, what is the future of Devontae Parker? Devontae Parker has had a very roller coaster. I wouldn't even say roller coaster, because it's the injury bug that consistently plagues Devontae Parker. Last year, he showed, hey, look, I'm going to be a 1,000-yard receiver. I'm going to be a top 5 receiver in the league. Just give me a chance, and they did. They gave him a chance. They gave him a contract extension. They did all the things that he was like, hey, help me out here. And he did well. This year, the injury bug came back and plagued him again, and he didn't do as well stat-wise. He was, it was the injuries, essentially, in a nutshell. He needs to prove that he can consistently put back-to-back seasons together. But it's, again, a whole nother situation, kind of like the Ryan Tannehill situation, is how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to give Devontae Parker, okay, prove it again, prove it again, prove it again, prove it again? So I think this year might be his last year, especially like BR said, with the Dolphins are going to try to bring in weapons. The Dolphins are going to continue to try to build and bring in consistent players and players that are going to consistently help the team. If Devontae Parker this year doesn't prove anything, this might be his last year. It really might be his last year because, like I said, looking at his contract, the more the years go, he only has after this year, he has 2 years left on his contract. They'll probably either trade him or cut him and just move on from him if he doesn't consistently get better. He had one good year, and then he falters, you know. But I hope I answered your question, BR. Again, like you said, adding the weapons really doesn't help Devontae Parker. Preston Williams has more of an upside and he's younger. So it's like Devontae Parker might be the odd man out after this year if he doesn't have another great year like he did in 2019. So, but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hope you guys enjoyed me bringing on Richmond Webb. I'm going to try to bring on some more former or current Dolphins. It's harder with the current Dolphins because, you know, they have things going on in the offseason, and I think the last thing they want to do is be bothered when they're trying to relax. But I will try my best to get more current Dolphins. I had Vince Beagle on here. I'll see if I can get some more current Dolphins on here. But thank you guys for checking the video out. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to check out Miami Sports Music, fantastic site that I'm a part of with TD Fins Talk and Solo D. It's him and Steven made this great website, and they're bringing on a ton of podcasters, a ton of different content on there. So be sure to check out the website and the YouTube channel. But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow with the special video I have planned. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.